My name is Patricia Elena Morales. I turned 70 on October 12th, 2024, and I threw myself the party I'd been dreaming about since the day my husband Ray died on the 101 in 2008. I wanted one night where I wasn't the widow, the third grade teacher on a fixed income, the human ATM. I wanted to wear a gown that made me feel like the sky and hear 400 people tell me I mattered. So Elle planned for 18 straight months. Elle booked the grand ballroom at the Phoenician. Elle hired Mariachi Nuevo Sonora, the same band that played my wedding in 1976. Elle ordered gardenias flown in from San Diego because they were Ray's favorite. I paid a sculptor from Tucson $12,000 to carve a 6-foot ice swan with LED lights inside so it glowed soft blue. I sent out 400 cream and gold invitations with real foil, and Elle bought a midnight blue silk gown with tiny silver stars stitched along the neckline. When Elle tried it on in the Neiman Marcus dressing room, the salesgirl cried and said, "Mrs. Morales, you look like the Milky Way decided to wear a dress." I saved the best table in the house. Table 1, right in front of the dance floor, for my only child, Mason Ray Morales, 39, senior associate at a big law firm downtown, and his wife, Tatum, née Tatum, Nicole Guidry, 36, full-time influencer, part-time wellness curator. Elle had helped them buy their 6,000 square foot house in DC Ranch 8 years earlier. Put down 400 grand and still paid the HOA every month because cash flow is tight with the renovations mom. Elle paid for Mason's braces, his private high school, his undergrad at ASU, his law school at Sandra Day O'Connor. Elle paid for Tatum's breast augmentation after their second miscarriage, self-care, patty cake. Paid for the Tesla Model X, the Peloton, the nanny, the organic meal delivery, the backyard pudding green nobody ever used. Never asked for a thank you card. I just wanted to be in the pictures. October 12th came. The ballroom looked like heaven had a budget and hired a really good planner. Crystal sparkled, gardenias perfumed the air. The swan glowed like a miracle. Stood at the door in my midnight blue gown, greeting cousins I hadn't seen since Ray's funeral. Former students who were now doctors and firefighters, my third grade teaching team who'd become my chosen sisters. 6:30. 7. Sayin 30. Table 1 stayed empty. I kept checking my phone like a 16-year-old waiting on prom night. At 6:58 p.m., the text came. Tatum, so sorry. Patty cake collab dinner for the new activewear drop ran super late, and the energy here is honestly just, we'll celebrate when we get back from Cabo next week. Besitos and hugs XO. I read it 3 times while the mariachi played Cielito Lindo, and 400 people sang ay 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 around me. I smiled the smile I'd perfected over decades of parent-teacher conferences when a kid wet himself and nobody wanted to say it out loud. Then I walked to the ladies' room, locked myself in the handicap stall, and threw up gardenia-scented shrimp until my ribs hurt. I came out, fixed my lipstick, told the room, "Oh, the kids got stuck at an important work thing, y'all know how it is," and danced with my friend Dolores until my feet bled in the satin heels. Elle left before they cut the cake, told the planner to send the top tier home with my teaching team, gave the melting swan to the valet guys who looked like they'd never seen anything so beautiful. I drove home alone on the 101, windows up, radio off, crying so hard the dashboard blurred. When I pulled into the DC Ranch house, the one with my name still on the deed, Mason's Tesla and Tatum's white G-Wagon weren't in the garage. They were still downtown drinking beet juice cocktails with ring lights. I walked into the guest room that used to be mine before they turned the master into Tatum's content closet, sat on the edge of the bed and screamed into a pillow until my voice was gone. Then Elle opened my MacBook and started canceling. Every single credit card they were authorized on, the Amex Black with a $5,000 annual fee, the Nordstrom card, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, Hulu, Equinox, the Tesla insurance I was still paying, everything gone. By 4 a.m., I was drinking cheap Chardonnay straight from the bottle and smiling for the first time all night. The next morning, October 13th, I called a realtor friend, Carla Romero, who owed me a favor from 1998 when I tutored her son for free all senior year. Carla, list my house in DC Ranch. Price it. Stupid low. Cash only. I want out yesterday. She sold it in 9 days to a plastic surgeon from Orange County who paid asking and closed in 2 weeks. Elle found a 1940s Adobe casita in Tubac, Arizona, little artist town an hour and a half south of Tucson, population 1,200, zero influencers. 2 bedrooms, Kiva fireplace, courtyard with a fountain, saguaro out front like a sentry. $340,000 cash. Closed November 1st. I took only what fit in my Lexus, my mother's rosary beads, Ray's Air Force photo in the silver frame, 38 years of 3rd grade love letters tied with red ribbon, the midnight blue gown in its garment bag, my jewelry box with the pearls Ray gave me the day Mason was born. Everything else I donated or sold on Facebook Marketplace. On Halloween morning, Elle left the keys to Mason and Tatum's house on their marble island with a post-it, "The cards are dead. The house is sold. Live the life you posted. Love always." Mom, I drove south on L19 with Bruce Springsteen so loud, the Border Patrol guy laughed and waved me through without even asking for ID. For 6 sweet weeks, I heard nothing. Elle painted every morning, big, messy desert sunsets in oil that looked like God spilled the paint. I drank coffee on the courtyard, watching hummingbirds fight over sugar water. Elle adopted a 3-legged mutt from the shelter and named him Lucky because we both only needed 3 to stand. I slept 8 hours a night for the first time since 2008. Then December 18th came. 2 ladies from Adult Protective Services knocked on my casita door with clipboards and worried faces. "Ma'am, we have a report that you may be at risk." I made them Cafe Deola, showed them my gallery lease on the plaza, handed them the neuropsych report I got at Mayo Clinic 2 weeks earlier that said my cognition was in the 98th percentile. They left eating my biscochitos and apologizing in 2 languages. January 3rd, 2025, the real storm hit. Emergency petition for guardianship of person in estate, Maricopa County Superior Court, filed by Mason Ray Morales and Tatum Nicole Morales. They claimed rapid onset dementia, reckless liquidation of assets, isolation in a remote artist colony, undue influence by unknown parties. They meant the 75-year-old painter next door who brought me to Molly's. They wanted every account frozen and me forcibly returned to Scottsdale for psychiatric evaluation. I sat on my courtyard bench with Lucky's head in my lap and laughed until Elle cried. Then I called Elena Ramirez. Elena is 5'0", Tejano, went to Stanford on scholarship, eats greedy children for breakfast. Her hourly rate could buy a small ranch in Sonora. Elle said, "Elena, I've been saving for a rainy day my whole life. Make it pour." She asked for the green folder I'd kept since 2010. I mailed it overnight. $2,487,312.41 transferred to Mason and Tatum Over 15 years, documented to the penny. Elena called me back in 6 minutes and said, "Patricia, I'm clearing my entire spring. This one's personal." The hearing was set for May 15th, 2025. For 132 days, A. Long lived the sweetest countdown of my life. L painted. I made new friends who asked about my day instead of my bank balance. L planted ocotillo and prickly pear. L bought a red linen dress for court because red is the color you wear when you're done being polite. Every night I wrote in a leather journal, day 132, until they tried to take my name. Day 97, sold my first painting to a couple from Chicago. Day 63, Lucky learned to climb the courtyard steps with 3 legs. Day 12, hung the midnight blue gown outside, so the moon could see it one more time. May 15th, arrived hotter than the devil's kitchen. The courtroom in downtown Phoenix was packed. Half the Tubac art colony showed up in turquoise and silver, like they were going to a fiesta. My former 3rd graders, now grown, with kids of their own, drove up in a caravan wearing t-shirts that said, "Team Mrs. M." Mason wore the same Navy suit he wore to his dad's funeral, now tight across the shoulders. Tatum wore head-to-toe cream linen and sunglasses indoors, live streaming to 1.4 million followers with the caption, "Fighting for family today, send prayers." Their lawyer spent 45 minutes painting me as a sad, confused widow who sold her home and fled to a hippie artist commune. Then Elena stood up. She wheeled in the actual ice swan on a dolly. Yes, the original one. I'd paid a commercial freezer in Phoenix to store it for 7 months. Still glowing blue. Still dripping on the marble floor. Exhibit A. Then the projector came on. Slide 1. The 6:58 p.m. text. Slide 2. $2,487,312.41 in transfers. Slide 3. Tatum's Instagram story from the collab dinner. Holding a $300 flute of champagne. Caption, "Some nights are bigger than family obligations. One-Jackson collab over blood." Slide 4. Ring footage of Mason screaming in the empty DC ranch house 2 days after Elle left. Where the hell did she hide the jewelry? Then Elena called me to the stand. I walked slow in the red dress, hair silver and loose, desert sun on my skin, calmer than I'd ever been in 71 years. Elle told the truth like my abuela taught me, slow, clear, no extra words. Elle told them about teaching Mason to read with Spider-Man comics because he hated chapter books. About working doubles at the hospital when Ray died so Mason could play club soccer. About paying for law school tuition while I clipped coupons at Basha's. About standing alone beside a melting swan while 400 people pretended not to see me cry. Then Elle looked straight at my son. I gave you every dollar I had, mijo. I gave you my house, my nights, my health, my grief. The one night Elle asked for something back, one single night, you chose strangers with ring lights and beet juice cocktails. So yes, I sold everything. Yes, I moved 90 miles away. Yes, I started living for the first time since your father died. If that's dementia, then write it on my chart in red ink. Patricia Elena Morales is guilty of finally choosing herself. The courtroom was so quiet you could hear the swan dripping. The judge, Honorable Marisol Ochoa, looked like she'd heard every lie the desert ever told and was fresh out of patience. Didn't even leave the bench. Petition denied with prejudice. This is the clearest case of attempted elder financial exploitation I have seen in 22 years on this bench. Petitioners will pay respondents' attorney fees and costs $218,412.41 Within 30 days, Mrs. Morales, you are free to go live every remaining day exactly as you see fit. Tatum started screaming that the judge was biased. Mason just stared at the floor like someone had pulled his soul out through his shoes. I walked out into the 112-degree heat, took the biggest breath of my entire life, and drove south with the windows down and the radio off because the quiet felt like church. That night, I sat in my courtyard with Lucky's head in my lap and hung the midnight blue gown on the clothesline so the moon could see it one last time. The red dress I folded away for the next war because a woman learns there's always another one coming. 6 months later, my little gallery on Two Box Plaza had a 6-month waiting list. Elle adopted a second dog, a Chihuahua mix somebody dumped on the side of the road, and named her Grace. Some mornings, I still wake up reaching for the phone to see if Mason called. Then I remember I changed my number the day I left, and I smile and go make coffee. The ice swan is gone now, melted into nothing the day the judge banged the gavel, but every time it rains in the desert, which isn't often, I swear I can smell gardenias. And I know exactly what that swan turned into. Freedom tastes like cold water on a hot day. And once you drink it, nobody can ever take it away again. That's the whole story, baby. Every tear, every dollar, every mile I put between me and the people who taught me I was only worth what I could pay for. Now, if you'll excuse me, the hummingbirds are fighting and Lucky wants his dinner. Life's too short for empty chairs at table one. I'll finally learn to sit somewhere else. If you liked my story, you can support me by making a donation so I can write more stories. Thank you in advance. And you, what would you do in this person's place? I would love to hear your opinion, so please share it with me in the comments. I'm always curious about what you all think, and also write me where you heard this story for more life stories like this, like the video, and subscribe to my channel. There are many other stories waiting for you. With heartfelt greetings. Elizabeth Queen.